So we're going to go over tonight a few things to recap from convention, and several of us still have sinusy gunk from Vegas. If you're not used to being around a lot of smoke, Vegas kind of took its toll on several of us, I know, but myself included for sure. But I just wanted to kind of go over a few things. I know we posted a lot in the team pages and stuff when we were in Vegas, so I know you guys got a lot of information from those posts, but I wanted to kind of go over some things that we had covered, like in our breakout sessions. And obviously they were, 3-hour-long breakout sessions, and we got several groups covered here, so we're not going to go over all of the content. But I did want to offer up some time for people to do their brief overviews of their particular breakout sessions. And I know Candace was in our silver breakout session, and she posted a lot of stuff already on the team page that was that they discussed in that breakout session. And I just really wanted to kind of open it up in regards to the piece of selling yourself, and some of that kind of, Candace, that you went over in that post. If you can take a moment and just kind of talk about that for us, and any other things that you felt like were real pertinent in that breakout session that you would like to cover with the team. I know she's mute. You'll have to unmute too, Candace, because I got you muted.
Okay, sorry. I was having a little moment. This is not my thing, guys. Anyway, so I wrote down a ton of stuff, and then this morning Alicia asked me for some bullet points. I was like, okay, well, I need to condense. One thing that they said that I know, like, I'm really struggling with just on my team in general, it was, she was a diamond, she's blonde. I'm really bad with names. I mean, I'm not good with names.
Rebecca Foltz.
Yes, her. Rebecca, she said that when you get so far in this company, past that, being active on social media is not an option. It is social retailing yourself. You have your constant viewers. They're always viewing your products and your business, and it's really what helps give you that extra push to get to be a jewel and where you need to be. Something else that she said was, a lot of us, we hear all the time, okay, well, I don't want to share until I have my own testimony. Like, I know that these work. She said it doesn't matter what your testimony is now or what it's going to be later, because nobody's is going to be the same as yours. She said nobody's story is going to be the same. It's all going to be different. She said, don't be afraid to go ahead and share with people about our products now, and then y'all can compare and share with each other as y'all are growing together in the products and maybe in the business.
One of the things that I liked, Candace, when we were talking about it before, was kind of along the lines of what you were posting about on the team page yesterday, and about the marketing yourself. And if y'all can go back and kind of remember a little bit about when we did the Zoom on posting, we talked a little bit about that then, and the kind of do's and don'ts of posting. And they actually talked about a formulation for posting that is different from anything that we have really talked about before in this particular session. So I kind of want Candace to hit on that too, because I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. When we were in there, they talked about something that was completely different than what I'd heard. I hear 33% of your posts should be Plexus posts, but they said that, but that wasn't their main focus in our session. It was a 10-4-1 is what they had taught us. That's 15 posts within a 4 to 5 day time span. And in that 4 to 5 days, you have 10 posts that are not Plexus related at all, 4 posts that are kind of related, and then 1 post that is very Plexus. Because, like they said, we're not a online shopping site. Like, that's not what people are on Facebook for. They're there for you. And if you're just Plexus, they're going to unfollow you. Mm-hmm. And then something else that they said when they were talking about that really stuck out to me, to the point that I wrote it down and like underlined it, was you are what your friends are going to think about when they think about Plexus, and what do you want them to have in their mind when they're thinking that. Do you want them to be like, oh my gosh, it's that Plexus girl, and yada yada yada. And like, yes, we have the shirts, the crazy Plexus lady, and that's great and all. But at the same time, when a friend of mine is hearing things like, I have no energy, I want them to think, okay, Candace sells Plexus, I should tell them about her. I don't want it to be that she's annoying. I don't want anybody to know about that. And so the 10-4-1, I've been trying to do it a lot the past 2 days. I mean, you can't do it a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I've been really trying to focus, okay, am I really doing this 10-4-1? And I've noticed, like, yesterday, most of my posts that I made, they were not directly Plexus related, and they all had above 20 likes. And that's just like, okay, so that's where my response is going to be, and that's what's going to happen. Guys, I'm going to just go ahead and share this real quick. I don't know if anybody knows about football or anything, but I went to high school with Kenyon Drake. He was a player for Alabama, and he just got signed by the Dolphins. And somebody that I went to high school with saw that post and remembered me and Kenyon being pretty close. We were English partners, and we were even physics partners at one time. And they told him about my post that I made about going to the gym, just because they were excited for me. And they told Kenyon about it, and then Kenyon actually ended up messaging me today, telling me how proud of me he was. And then with him going to look at my page to look at that gym post, then he saw my Plexus post. And so now he's like asking me questions about Plexus. I had sent him some info today and some product samples. And that wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have made a true post, opening myself up and giving just a little bit of me to my Facebook for my friends and my followers to connect with.
And because you're going to the gym.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just interrupt her in case, like, y'all aren't getting the excitement. An NFL 2016 third-round draft pick messaged her and talked to her, and she put stuff in the mail to him today for samples and stuff about Plexus. Okay, so can we just get a little bit excited about that? Like, I was so pumped up for her about that, like, for real.
I'm pumped, but I'm also really emotional about it. Like, this thing about it makes me want to cry. Just because, I mean, it's crazy, guys.
That's awesome. And there's so many benefits of our products for athletes and people that work out anyway because of the balancing the blood sugar. There's tons of videos out there about that aspect too. So if you need to dig into some of those before you touch base with them again, go ahead and look some of that up. It might help you be a little more prepared for that conversation, because you think of somebody that's an athlete maybe feeling like they don't need it, I mean, we all know that they do, but it might help you be prepared.
He was like, go ahead and send me some information so I can give it to my trainer. Like,
yeah. All right. That's good stuff. Like, I was super stoked about that for her.
I have so think about, like, with the post, think about when you're scrolling through Facebook. Like, I have a lot of friends that sell It Works, a lot. And what gets me to stop is, like, personal stuff mixed in. Like, the business stuff is great, and, posting about the products is good, but I would prefer to see a personal post, and then intrigue about the product more than, like, a business advertisement. I keep on scrolling past those. So I try to, limit those as much as I can. And I see a lot of our ambassadors, even some on my team, that are mostly business. Mm-hmm. And, if people think of you only as a business and that's all you want, nothing will happen.
And that's when people start unfriending you too. They don't just unfollow you, like they completely just delete you off Facebook.
Right.
I mean, and I know I've had it happen to me too. And one thing, and I'm going to touch on one of the statements from our senior Ruby breakout session, but I do want to just kind of put it out there that because I did talk about it in that posting Zoom. So if your ambassadors have not seen that, then first of all, we need to go back and revisit that piece of it because they need that for their training. And in that Zoom, we discussed specifically for our team to do not be putting your website on your post because it's so salesy and it goes directly, like you can be saying something, you know, like I think for me, the point in time when I completely quit putting my my website on my post was when somebody took my son's testimony and shared my son's testimony and then threw their website up underneath that. Like it was just like I was like, you know, because that's my kid, you know, and yes, our products are fantastic and yes, you know, like we celebrate him so much with Plexus and what it's done for our family. But that to me made it broke every emotional connection for me to that post and for anybody that would see it, to see somebody's website address thrown up in there. Because if somebody's, you know, it won't be hard for somebody to figure out what your web address is. Or, you know, like if somebody puts something in the comments and asks you a question, you know, you can say, hey, I'll private message you, but here's my web address. You know, you can do it discreetly in that kind of manner so that it's out there. But, you know, that for me is like the biggest turnoff. And especially for leaders, like if you are gold or up on this team, then anybody should be training their new ambassadors correctly. But for certain in our leader group, you know, in our downlines, like you want to kind of see that. So like when I see people posting and putting their web address in there, like if I see it, I mean, we have over 400 people on our team. I'm not going to see everybody's post, but I'm just telling you guys, I'm just putting it out there now. Like, don't be offended if you get a message from me that says, hey, I'd like for you to try not putting your website address on there, because I still see it from people, and it's a big turn off.
Well, we actually learned in that session too that's not compliant either.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
How is that not compliant?
She just said it wasn't. She didn't explain why. She was just like, guys, don't put your website out there on your post. She said it's tacky, it's salesy. She said, and it's not compliant, so you can't. And that was it.
Okay.
My understanding is it can actually get, like putting it in the actual post, so not in the comments, but in the actual post, can get you flagged by Facebook as a personal person trying to do a business and can get you put in Facebook jail.
That can happen as well too, yes. But like I wouldn't even put it in the comments. Like to me, I just think like it takes so much away from the point you're trying to put out there to even have it out there. And now with the new communications that we have in back office, where you can share them from your back office and it's going to direct people to your website, I think that's a great resource to use for those purposes rather than, you know, throwing it out there like that, you know.
Can I piggyback on this discussion of Facebook, because that was one of the topics I wrote down too.
Yeah.
They really talked about it in our group as well. I was in the Gold, Senior Gold, and they really talked about thinking of Facebook as the moment you joined Plexus, your personal Facebook page became a business page. And so you are now a brand. And what do you want people to see when they come to your Facebook page? And so they even talked about you may even want to go back in and clean some stuff up from posts that you had posted before you joined Plexus, or sometimes we all have a bad day. Sometimes we post things. And they said, think about, is this building your brand, what you're posting? And then the other thing they did talk about was just making sure that you don't have your Facebook page be an infomercial for Plexus. And she talked about, you know, she had a friend that was the recipe guru, and she follows her friend because her friend puts up all these recipes. And then what if she joined Plexus and then all she saw was Plexus stuff? She would go find someone else who was posting recipes. So think about what your niche is. What is it that you, so it may not necessarily need to be all personal stuff. Like it may be, maybe you're a recipe guru, maybe you're a tech guru like my husband and are posting tech stuff. So you want to start making some of those personal things and then weave in the Plexus stuff here and there. And for those of you that are on my downline, we are going to do some training on that because I have not trained you well to do that. So that is coming down the pipeline because that was one of my aha moments where Facebook was concerned.
And Katrina, while you're going, go ahead and go ahead and do anything else that you wanted to add, like from your session.
Yeah, so first I'm going to just say convention for me was, I want to say life-changing, but yeah, it was life-changing. I went to convention last year. There were 7,000 people there. It was my first time. I was brand new in the business. And I got just kind of a taste of Plexus. And at that time, the only execs around were Alec and Tarl and the new lady who built our success kit, Marianne.
Marianne. Mm-hmm.
And that in and of itself was pretty amazing.
Right.
To be in that arena and to be up in so you're up in this arena and all the jewels are down on the floor level, and to stand in that arena and see these people who had made it to where I want to be, man, oh man, my belief was built. But then to have these executives who time and time again said, we make no decision unless it benefits you, the ambassadors, and it benefits us as the company. If it does not mutually benefit us both, we don't do it. And to me, that's leadership I can get behind. And then to know that we are a debt-free company and that money comes in from all these profits. We have a $50 million month and 40% of that goes back into the company to help make decisions. So they're able to make decisions like bring on the social media and bring on Marianne and bring on people to help make good decisions for us. So for me, that was one of my biggest takeaways, that and the fact that they don't profess to be a Christian company. They don't stand up on the stage and say that they are, but man, the character that oozes out of those people that run this company and from them down into the majority of our ambassadors, it made me so thankful that I made the decision to join Plexus. With that came Rita Davenport, who, if you have not listened to her, I highly recommend you go YouTube her. She's on YouTube. And a couple of things that she said was, people at the top get the most no's, so go get your ask in gear. Because the people that were sitting down on that floor are the people that continue to ask people about Plexus and shared about Plexus, and they got the most no's. And then moving into my session, they just were really great about going through the new success kit. So I know many of us weren't around when that new one came out. My understanding is it's going to be available. If you don't have one, you can get your hands on it. But just going through that and teaching us how to train with that. A couple of the things that came out of there were phrases like, with every gift comes adversity and vice versa. So you need to love what is. I think that actually came from Rita Davenport. You need to love what is. Your why has got to be bigger than your why not. And your why, when you tell your upline or your upline asks you what is your why, and your why is, I want to retire my husband, that's kind of been mine, or I want to pay for college, that's kind of been mine. That's not enough to drive me out of the bed in the morning to get up and go. So you got to kind of connect what is the emotional why. And so I'm working on that. You have got to make sacrifices if you want to move up in this company. What does that mean? That means you have got to stop watching your favorite television show for a time period. You've got to stop reading your favorite novel for a time period. You've got to you are not going to get to the top of the company or to Emerald or whatever that level is if you're not putting in the time and making those sacrifices. 8 contacts to get a yes. Typically takes 8 contacts of you talking to the same person 8 different times to get a yes. So many of us stop at 1 or 2. And one of the great things she talked about was when you're messaging people on Facebook to do a voice message instead of type the message for twofold. One, they can't see what you're typing, so they're more intrigued and want to hear what you have to say, so they're going to listen to it. But two, they get to hear your voice and they get to hear your excitement. So when she's reaching out to her potentials, she's doing it in Facebook message. That brings me to the daily time management. They talked about these 4 quadrants, which spoke to my heart like nobody's business. If you do not rule your time will rule you. And so you need to space out your day into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 is your urgent. That's where your DMO and your IPA is going to live. Your daily methods of operation, your income producing activity. Quadrant 2 is your important but not urgent. That's kind of where you're following up with your level 1s. You're doing your Facebook posting. Quadrant 3 is not important to you but urgent. So maybe it's a lower level person that has a question. Kind of put them there and get to them when you've done your quadrants 1 and 2. And then quadrant 4 is the avoid category, and that is like you're scrolling of Facebook, or they called it wastebook when you're utilizing it that way. Intentional focused time is what is going to get you to reach your goals. Multitasking is a myth. And when we talk about DMOs and IPAs, and I shared this with Alicia at convention, I think this is one of the areas I really fall short of. And I'm fully aware that's why I'm not where I want to be, because I'm not doing my daily method and my income producing. So if you want to grow and you want to set goals for yourself and meet them, you have to be doing your daily method of operation in your income producing activity. And what is that? 5-3-1, at least minimum, reaching out to 5 new people a day, following up with 3 people a day, and either training yourself or 1 ambassador on your team a day. And then they added plus personal development, plus posting on social media. So social media is not an income producing activity. Social media is not going to get you your income. You have got to be talking to people to get producing income and growing to those levels. And then they did a great visual. And for those of you on my team, I took a video of a waterfall that we're going to use too. But where prospecting is like pouring water into a cup, network marketing is like a full cup with holes in it. And you have to look at it like you can't just add people and then rest and then it's all going to be okay. There's holes in there and people are going to fall out. White lines are going to happen. It is the nature of our business. You have to consistently be building your team, consistently be talking to people to make sure that your cup doesn't get empty, because the holes are going to be there. It is the reality of our business. Being positive is a choice. You choose every day when you wake up what your attitude is going to be and how you are going to conquer this mission that is Plexus. We are in the people business. We are not in it's a health and wellness business, but the reality of it is you are in the people business. And if you are not working to grow relationships with people, you're not going to grow. If you're not working to better your individual personal relationship with yourself, you are not going to grow. So those were my big ones. I think I have like multiple pages of notes, but I'll stop there.
Oh, girl, I know. I had like 9 pages just in my one little section. And Alicia was in the same session that you were in, and I asked Alicia, what do you have to add to?
I'm sorry, Alicia. I thought you were in the other one. Okay.
No. It's fine, but I kind of wanted to talk to you both because I think hearing different people's perspective from the same sessions, because we all have different takeaways. I mean, and we had several of y'all were in that same session, so I just asked 2 of you, but
And we took a lot, honestly. Am I getting good connection? Because I keep getting, okay. We did a lot of the same, notes, because I definitely had almost every one you did. But since you covered a lot of like the business aspect, there's some quotes that were done that I'm going to just go over that were my favorite in that session. And I wanted to say, when you said, no's are okay. In the beginning, that was one of my hardest things to accept, because I'm like, how can you tell me no? Like, it was almost like I personally developed these products and got personally offended. So I've learned that I can't be that way. I mean, everyone has their right. I've said no to other marketing companies many times, and I know they don't take it personally. One of my favorite ones was, successful people do consistently what others only do occasionally. I loved that.
Mhm.
That shows you, you know, if you consistently work this the way you're supposed to, exactly like you take our products the way you're supposed to, it's going to work. It just takes time and effort and consistency. You know, and one of my favorites was, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that's the most important thing. You know, why do we do? I personally do it because I want to help people. I mean, that's what I do for a living. I love to help others. And if you're in it for money, you might as well get out. I mean, I know that might be some of the why we have, but to bless others with something that we have that can change their life will get you so much further in this business than doing it just for yourself.
Absolutely.
Be proud of what you're doing. Be proud of your business, starting your journey. A couple of my level ones, you know, I've had to talk to because they're embarrassed to post, thinking what people are going to think of them. Who cares? You know, I had to get over, I was worried at first that, you know, a lot of people are going to be like, oh Lord, here's another, you know, but I gave that up. Who cares? I love what I do. I love our products. I stand behind them 100%, and I'm going to promote them all that I can. And this just carries on saying, we are in a people business. Invest in your people, building relationships, not just for sales. If you do it for sales, you're gonna plummet in this business. Do it and invest, and like we build our relationships. I mean, I would have never met any of y'all if it weren't for Plexus, and my life would not be like it is today. And I cherish every one of you and what we built, you know, in just our quick time together. So imagine how we're going to be when we're diamonds sitting together.
Right?
You know? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it makes me like teary. And belief doesn't come from success. Success comes from belief.
Yeah.
Belief in yourself, belief in the products, belief in the business. And, you know, the biggest thing that I kept hearing them say is be a product of the product. You know, practice what you're preaching on Facebook. Don't be negative, like, you know, about customer service, things like that. You know, they're human too. It happens. They look how much our company has blessed us with, like the customer service issue, the shipping issues. We just have to stand behind them like they stand behind us.
Right.
I think that's really much it. I mean, just the basic is just focus on your customers and on others, then more than focusing on yourself. Be selfless. And I mean, that was a lot of what Rita was talking about. Be selfless. And if you're blessed, be a blessing.
Right.
That's huge in this business.
I want to kind of talk a little bit about, and thank you both, or all three of y'all for sharing what you shared. I want to kind of talk a little bit about some things that were in the main sessions, and I shared, and her name just totally, completely just left me. And I'm friends with her on Facebook, so I know I can pull it up. But the news reporter, who can give me her name? Her name just totally left me, y'all. But somebody can come up with it, surely. Latoya, I want to say her name's Latoya. That'll make me crazy if I don't. Latoya Salmon. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's Silmon. Okay. When she got up and spoke, and for those of you who did not see where I shared that, she was a news reporter for a top 5 nationwide market, and for the #1 morning show in her market. And I believe she was in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. But when she started doing Plexus, and she, like, the product had changed her family's lives so much, and she knew that she wanted to promote Plexus, And as a news reporter, you know, you are like your own brand. So you can't go and brand, like be representing another brand. They don't allow you to do that. So she quit her job as a news reporter, which, you know, she had to be making really good money for being in the #1 morning show in a top 5 market. And she quit her job so that she could promote these products, because she had seen how life-changing that they were for her family. And that is huge to me. But not only that, guys, once she had quit her job, and she was off her positions with other networks, and when she asked, can I still promote Plexus if I take on this position? And when they told her no, she declined the position. Like, guys, that's huge. When you're talking about somebody taking a leap of faith and going from, you know, no telling how much money she's making, because, like, I don't know offhand the salaries of a news reporter, but I can only imagine being in one of the top positions in the country that, you know, it wasn't chump change, if you get my drift. But her belief in these products, in this company, and our leadership, like, that spoke huge to me. And like what Katrina was saying is, like, you know, there's nothing out there that says, okay, Plexus is a Christian-based company. Like, we don't, that's not something that's, I don't think ever been publicized. But when one of the Diamonds shared a picture of Alec Clark, who is our president, and this statement was in quotations, I don't care if I offend anyone in this room, but prayer is a huge part of my life. When you have your executives that will stand up in front of the top 0.5% of the earners in the company, and that's something that they lead with, that's huge. A lot of y'all follow Chris McCall on social media. You know, like, if you don't, you should. If you don't, you should, because they're hilarious. But, you know, when you're in an arena of 12,000 people, and somebody says, you know, I have my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is my secret weapon, and the roars, like, I got goosebumps just saying that. I can't describe it to you. It is something you truly would have had to have been there and witnessed. But, like, I literally, like, have chills all over my body right now. The uproar from that whole arena when he said that, you know, you don't just find that just anywhere, you know, like, you really don't. And so I love that part of this company. I want to touch on a few things that was in our Senior Ruby breakout session. And like I said, it was several hours long, so I'm just going to touch on a few key points. And then I'll be doing a more in-depth training on this with you leaders here in the coming week. But one of the first things that Melissa Eichenhorst shared with us is that the difference in a team of 10 and a team of 1,000 is culture. And she went through several ways in building your team culture and what that looks like for you, and owning your leadership. Whether, you know, she said, like, it's easy to be a leader when things are easy, like when people are joining every day and we got new products out and everything's great. And those are times when it's easy to be a leader. The times when it's not easy to be a leader, those are the times that are going to set you apart. Just be standing firm and to never waver in that fact. Work when you don't want to work. She made the statement, and I know, like, I've given the tough love to our leadership team on this, but she made this statement, and it goes right back to what we discussed on some of our leader teams, is at this level, you have lost the opportunity to go in and out as a leader. If you're in it, you need to be all in it, and because you can't be completely dedicated one day and like next week you're just not there, and then the next week you're okay, you're back and you're dedicated again, and then the next week you're not. So once you get to a level where you truly have a team, you know, like you kind of have to make that decision for yourself. If you're going to be all in it, then you need to be all in it, because you do lose your ability to go back and forth. Like, it's not fair to your team. It's not fair to the people that are trying to grow. One statement that I really loved that she made was, the leader finds the dream and then the people. The people find the leader and then the dream. Your people depend on you first. And that really kind of resonated with me, and some things that were shared with me at convention. Like, I feel like I grew as a person, not just as a leader, you know, because I do feel like that we gain things, you know, as a leader, but the personal relationships, like, I cannot even describe to y'all, like, the different, like, I love all of you and loved you before going into convention, but, and even if we didn't get to spend a lot of time together at convention, just being there and experiencing that together, like, it takes things to a whole different level. Achieving your goals should not be sponsor dependent, but system dependent. So don't expect your sponsor to be the person to get you somewhere. You know, we do have systems in place, so don't let that hold you back. I know we've said this time and time again, and I'm kind of rushing through, but I just wanted to hit on some quick notes. People will join you for the product, and people will join you for the business, but they will stay with you for the relationships. And y'all heard us say this time and time again, because there are people that, even in my upline, that before I would have said, yeah, I don't really care if I was on the team or not, you know. And I don't mean like Kelly, I mean like all through, because I didn't have a relationship with them, you know, because it makes them not mean anything to you. So building those relationships is key, with your team, and you know, with the people that are joining you. And obviously, you know, you're not going to have a one-on-one connection with 800 people. I mean, like, that's just, it's not that feasible, but you need to really kind of work on those levels, one and twos, and really developing your relationships with those people, and then kind of working your way on down from there. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure that I don't want to like miss anything. Like, there was so much that she talked about. Power partners, we kind of do that on our team, setting you guys up with some stuff, with sideline teams and things like that when you're trying to promote. Like, those things are really key. Katrina touched on this, and this was a real emotional moment for me, I think, that really kind of hit me. And then when I started talking about it, Candace was like, oh geez, now I'm going to cry. And Katrina's like, well, now I'm going to cry. And we were all just like real, just kind of talking about it like over a burger or whatever. But knowing somebody's why is one thing, but making the emotional connection to their why is a totally different ballgame. And Katrina touched on this when she was talking about retiring her husband, or, you know, whatever it is for money. You know, like, for me, my why, you know, is for my son's health, but then it also is to financially provide for them now, because my why did take a turn when I lost my job. And what does that mean for me? Okay, well, so for me, and I'll tell you the difference, like, wanting to be able to send my kid to college, like, that's a why for me. But my emotional why to that is to be in a position where when my son wants to go to University of Alabama, I don't have to tell him no because it's out of state and you don't qualify for Hope in Alabama. My why becomes, my emotional why becomes being able to tell him he can go to school anywhere he wants to because we have the freedom to let him do that. And that, what it will feel like as a mom when my child is putting in his college applications to tell him, you can apply to school wherever you want to go because I got you. Like, I can't even tell y'all, like, it's very emotional to me. That takes things for me to a whole nother level. Like, it's not just, oh yeah, my why is to provide for my family. So know your team's why and help them build their goals based on their why. And that's part of why I started having you guys do this little project of jotting down like the time that you're working and what you're doing in those startup slots. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, but so that's kind of like my emotional piece right now. But just like Katrina was saying, like for somebody retiring your husband, okay, well, what is it going to feel like to you when you're at whatever level it is? Like if it's Emerald, what is it going to feel like to you when you're Emerald and you can say to your husband, hey, you can turn in your 2-week notice at work? Like, what is that going to do to you? What is that emotion going to be? That's that emotional connection, and coaching your team as a leader, one of the first things that she puts out there is to say to your team, if I saw something that was holding you back in your business, would you give me your permission to tell you? And that right there will let you know who is emotionally mature enough to handle the business side and who's like really not ready to handle growing their business. Because if you can't tell somebody, like we're in a position where we're not managers, we're leaders. And it gets to be really hard because I can guide you all day long and we can suggest things all day long, but we can't make you do them. So you have to be in a position where you are ready to do the things that are recommended to you to grow and develop your business. So that's a very key thing to be able to discuss with your team. And holding coaching sessions with levels 1 and 2. And Helen just kind of recommended starting with levels 1 and 2 and doing them in very strict time slots. And she said like she would do them in like 15-minute time slots and have like a 5-minute gap in between. And that it's very strict. Like there's nothing personal. It's like, even if it's your best friend, this is not a personal phone call. We're not discussing personal business. This is just fun. So it's not, time to catch up with what's going on with the kids or this, that, and the third. It's strictly about your Plexus business so that you can then try to help them grow. And in doing that by grow coaching, like what is their goal? What is the reality of it happening? What are their options? And what will they do to meet that goal? So that is grow coaching. The goal, the reality of it happening, the options, and what they'll do to meet it. And then make a list, of those things with them, and then follow back up with them. Like you set a time, okay, then in 2 weeks or whatever that looks like, to touch base with them again on that. One thing that Kristen Abart touched on, and I'm gonna like cut this short because we're getting close on time here, was looking at Emerald by numbers for level 1s. 3 rubies should put you Emerald, or 1 ruby, 4 senior gold, and 2 gold. And that's your level ones, not like all on the same leg of your team. One thing that I loved was removing labels. You are not late. You are right on time. There's no expiration date on your potential. Because I think a lot of us that are a little bit older feel like sometimes like, oh, well, am I really wanting to restart everything? And yeah, you really are, because what we have is not what we want, or we wouldn't even have considered doing this to start with. So that's kind of for those things. I wanted to briefly also touch on the Consistency Club. We will do a Zoom on Leaders Retreat and all of that great info, but I wanted to make sure, if you haven't seen the information on the Consistency Club, make sure that you look at it. Excuse me. There's a Club 300, there's a Club 500. Club 300 is 300 PV, 3 existing customers and adding 1 new customer each month. You meet that 8 of 10 months between June 1st and, is that right? June 1st to March 31st. Did I write that down right? May 3rd. Look, you can't read my notes. But you meet it 8 of 10 months to get in that Consistency Club for convention next year. You get recognized at convention. That's going to go on our dashboard July 1st so that you can see tracking for it. The Club 500 is 500 PV, 5 existing customers, and adding 3 new customers each month. For your Leaders Retreat, if you hit your Consistency Club 2 of the 3 months, you automatically get VIP level upgrades on Leaders Retreat if you hit your Leaders Retreat credits and earn that trip. So Leaders Retreat credits are retroactive to June the 1st. So when you have the contest, if you look at it, it's very similar to earning convention credits. The difference in Leaders Retreat is you have to actually earn it. So when you add levels 1 through 3, anybody in your levels 1 through 4 with a welcome pack gets you 10 credits. New customers, retail or preferred, $50 or more gets you 10 credits. And then your PVs are tiered by different amounts. So you can check that out. But one thing I wanted to really quick touch on, and Katrina touched on this in the quadrant of your day and prioritizing your time. And I thought it was really interesting that some of the information that's been sent back to me thus far, liking posts, commenting on posts, like those are things that we actually see when somebody sends back, okay, here's my breakdown and here's what I've been doing to work my business. And understanding that those things are in the 4th quadrant, like they aren't anywhere near on your priority list. So if you only have an hour a day to be working your business, you want to be doing very critical things in working your business and income producing activities. So if you do not have a daily method of operation, there's tons of videos out there. I would suggest that you YouTube it, check it out. We've posted things on the team pages about having a DMO. That's real critical, and commenting on somebody's Facebook post is not in your DMO. You know, you want to have income producing activities that are you reaching out to people that, you know, things that are actually going to produce you income. And if you will just kind of think of things, even if you haven't like already trained on a video or something like that, if you will think of it in terms of exactly that, income producing activities, is me making a comment on this post going to earn me income? Probably not. Is it going to help boost a post? Yes. If you have time for that, yes. But if you're working in an extremely limited amount of time daily that you can work your business, you want to really be capitalizing on the things that, like for what Katrina's saying, quadrant 1 should be your number 1 priority. And if we're not hitting those things in that hour a day, which is, I think, about the most that's been sent to me, about an hour to an hour and a half in a day, I want you guys to kind of look at that and see, is what I'm doing in my time really benefiting me, or am I kind of spinning my wheels here? Because what I see a lot, and I shared this with Candace, and she's already shared it out with her team. It's real easy for us to say, I want to be diamonds. I want to be emerald. I want to be, whatever that level is. It's real easy for us to say that. Like I said, okay, well, if somebody's working a part-time job, how many hours a week are they putting into that part-time job? Is it 10 hours, 15 hours? What does that look like? Okay, so if you want to truthfully look at this business as a business, think of it like if you work full-time as like your part-time job. How much time a day should you genuinely be putting into it to get you where you want to get? Because I can tell you 30 minutes a day on scrolling on Facebook is not going to get you to diamonds. I mean, it's just, I'm not trying to be ugly. It's just not going to get you there. So be realistic in your goals, in the fact of how much time do I need to be putting into my business to reach my goals. And then really set that time aside. So, like, we were in the car, like, I'm telling y'all, like, we literally were in the car on the way home from the airport, and Candace was on the phone with her husband. So I'm taking a part-time job, and I'm going to work about so many hours a week or whatever. She's having this whole conversation with him. And, and I'm just kind of like giggling because I know where she's headed with it. And then kind of at the end, she's like, yeah, well, my part-time job is going to be flexible. Like, I need to work my business 4 hours a day. So, she knew that going into it. So she was explaining to him, okay, if I do it an hour in the morning and 2 hours at night, then somewhere during the middle of the day, I need to work in like another hour. And because she doesn't have a full-time job, that's what she's, trying to push for her business. So I want to challenge you guys, if you haven't sent your information to me in your upline that I put out on that video on Friday, or if you didn't see it and you're just now hearing about it, then go on Pink Freedom, watch my little video that I did for the challenge to just kind of do it for 3 days and kind of notate what it is that you're looking at. What are you doing when you're working your business? And it's not like to make anybody get in trouble, or it's not anything like that. It's just kind of to open you up to, this is what I feel like is working my business. And then kind of look at it as far as like these quadrants that Katrina talked about. What quadrant would that really go into? Because if you're working on an hour a day, most of your stuff needs to be in quadrant 1, or you're not going to really get where you want to get as far as your goals go. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anybody have anything that you want to add in regards to convention as a whole? Like, we're trying to cram days worth of stuff into under an hour here. So
The only other thing I want to add is, and I don't remember her name, but the woman who was the Emerald, and she talked about how she had her poker chip.
yeah.
And she was all in. And she had been sitting at Emerald for 2 years, but she had had a life in another network marketing company and had just gone into great debt with that company. And she talked about how she asked her husband, is it okay that we're still at Emerald 2 years later? And her husband said, yes, I wouldn't have cared if you got past gold, because it was good income and you are a much happier person providing for our family. And for me, that spoke to my heart, because I think so many times we get wrapped up in the super high level and we don't stop to think about, sorry, my kids are in here. You don't stop to think about how life changing even a gold, even a silver, almost gold income can produce for a family. So I got myself a poker chip, and this is my visual reminder because Jeff and I are all in, and no matter how long it takes us, it's worth it to work on ourselves, grow ourselves, because we're leaving a legacy for our kids. So that was my other big heart moving moment.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Katrina. That was it was a very aha moment. It was very emotional to hear her because that struggle is so real, having come from that place. And I did network marketing with another company when I was married to my ex-husband, and it caused a lot of fights, and he wasn't supportive, and I would book my little parties that I had to do, and then he wouldn't be home to watch the kids so I could go do them. And, you know, you're kind of trapped in the, how could you ever really make money doing this, you know? And to hear somebody have come from that kind of place, and, you know, for her husband to then get behind her and tell her, you know what, go and do and be and get it, you know? And like that really spoke volumes to me too. And I think it's time for a lot of us really to make that decision. Like, you got your chip, so either you're going to play it or you're not. And I'm all in too. And like Jeff, I cannot even describe to you how excited I am to see you on this call. And to have seen your posts and stuff. Like those things are the things, that is what convention is for. Like, Jeff was with us at convention last year, and he went to the Metaplexus thing, and I'm probably going to have you do a whole nother segment and ask you to talk on some of the guy side of things on a different call. But to see that, like, if nothing else happens at convention this year, when Katrina said, my husband caught the bug, like, that was it. Like, I was done. Like, if nothing else came out of convention, like you being on this call, that's good for me. I'm good. That has really, really pumped me up. So, and seeing your post last night really pumped me up. So that's awesome. Anybody else have anything that you want to add? I know I feel like we've gone a long time, but if y'all only knew the hours and hours and hours of information that we crammed into this little bitty time slot, it's about as fast as we could do it, I think. Okay, well, if nobody has anything else, I'm going to stop the call there. And we'll reconvene. I know with convention and all that, we've kind of been off kilter for Zoom. So I'll post this recording as soon as it downloads. Please, please, please share it with your teams, and we will be on schedule weekly, you know, moving forward for our Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock. So just keep your teams abreast on that, and I will talk to you all soon. Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it very much.
Good night.